Hi everybody, welcome to our TNT Saturday program, and we're going to be talking about expat enclaves. Now when I'm talking about expat enclaves, I'm talking about surges in one particular nationality over others in a particular area. And we read about these in the forums from time to time, and people, like to complain about, oh, there's too many Russians, there's too many Indians, there's too many whatever. And a lot of it can be based around people's personal biases. But in some cases, there are a lot of people coming from one nationality or another to particular areas, particularly during certain festivals, like it was the Chinese Golden Week, I think they call it, a couple of weeks back, and there was a surge of Chinese tourists who were travelling outside of China. This year, China has seen more outbound tourism than any other year before, so record numbers of Chinese are now heading out of the country. Unfortunately for Thailand, they're going to other places these days. They're still coming to Thailand, but the numbers are down in some locations, down to 45 or 50%. So if you want to look at the drop in tourism in Thailand for 2025, you can almost exclusively go to the Chinese tourists and travellers whose numbers have just dropped off the cliff. In other areas, the British, the Europeans, Australians, I think were mentioned. Those numbers have risen this year. So it's an interesting mix, and it will always be an interesting mix of tourists and travellers coming to Thailand. And as I said a little bit earlier, I would just urge people to try and resist from saying blatantly silly or racist comments when we're talking about this. Let's stick to the facts. Let's talk about our experiences. And let's not try and grab bag all tourists and travellers into one stereotype. I think we're sort of grown a little bit beyond that. So let's have a talk about that. And I'll start off with my experiences, say, in Phuket. And I arrived there in 2011, a newbie. I had a job. Well, I had a job on the second day I arrived. I didn't intend to, just happened. My intention was to spend that first year just sort of, will I enjoy living in Thailand? And it was, the first day, was just exciting, I suppose. The second day I jumped on the phone, I rang up, sort of went through the internet. Oh, there's a radio station, Live 89.5, rang them up and said, look, I've done a little bit of radio in the past. Can you start tomorrow? Okay. So I did, and I've been working ever since. I ostensibly came to Thailand to sort of retire and slow down, but it's been anything but that. And I've never been busier, and I can honestly say I've never been happier, and it's been a good move for me. But when I arrived there was the start of this rise of Chinese tourists coming to Thailand, the middle class of China, one of the fastest growing middle class in the world, and they were starting to get passports and travel. And so they did. And Phuket seems to always be a victim, if I want to use that word, of these surges in various nationalities from time to time. And for that 2011, say to 2015, 16, that 5 years was seeing a huge rise in Chinese tourism. And a lot of people saying, oh, this is going to be a problem, and too many Chinese. And I suppose we could say generally that having too many people from any nationality is going to cause a greater possibility of friction. And so, and it could be from any nationality, because they're going to be culturally rubbing up against the Thais and then other large expat groups in the area. And when I arrived in Phuket, there was a very healthy and large Australian expat community, which I vigorously worked to not really get involved in. I mean, I'd lived in Australia for, at that stage, 50 something years. And, I was, wanting to experience Thailand. So trying to learn the language and all that sort of stuff. Huge failure. But I did try. But there were plenty of British people there. And we were seeing this rise of Chinese, and a lot of people grumble, grumble, grumble. Oh, there's going to be Chinese restaurants everywhere. And then at the same time, in Pattaya, there was a rise in Russian tourists at the time. And I was invited to several different launches of Russian property developments, huge condos that were funded by a lot of Russian money. And they were basically building their own little enclaves for Russian people. That surge sort of dropped off, and now there's different surges. So that's just a bit of a preamble that from time to time, different parts of Thailand do have these rises and drops in different nationalities. And it takes me to this article, which I read this morning, which, as usual, when I wake up on a Saturday morning, it's what the hell am I going to talk about today? And I saw this article and I thought, oh, that's, I think, worth discussing. As I go through my notes here, very unsuccessfully, where are we? Where's the article? Here we go. And so we go to the Bangkok Post, and it says, tensions rise with some Israeli tourists on Koh Phangan. And local authorities and business operators on Koh Phangan are raising concerns over the behaviour of some Israeli visitors and the rise of foreign businesses, or foreign-run businesses, on the southern island. For those that are sort of not quite in the know, Koh Phangan is in the Gulf of Thailand. You've got a trio of popular islands there. You've got Koh Samui, and then to the north you've got Koh Phangan, and then Koh Tao. There's a huge archipelago of islands just off that part of the Suratani and Chumpon coast. And if you haven't been there, you absolutely should. I've only been to Koh Phangan once, but that was about 10 years ago. But it really seems it's become a huge, almost bohemian type atmosphere, and a lot of foreigners moving there, and hugely changing the vibe and the sort of the business mix in the island. And this is what people are concerned about. Reports of tensions have emerged neighbouring Koh Samui, involving tourists and business operators. Allegations include acquisition of land through Thai nominees, which is strictly illegal. It may be legal on paper if the purchase of that land has got some value for the company that you'd have to register, and the Thai nominees work for that company, etc., etc. Otherwise, it's just a workaround that's been used a lot in the past, but it is basically illegal. And the establishment of businesses catering exclusively to Israeli visitors. I think now that would be a problem if you've opened up a shop legally and then say, sorry, only Israeli people can come through the door, which I think that's insinuating, then you've got a huge problem. And that is going to attract attention one way or the other. So some tourists have reportedly caused disturbances affecting other visitors and local operators, prompting fears of wider conflicts. The situation calls to mind a period of tension earlier this year in Pai. Pai is about a 2.5, 3 hour drive northwest of Chiang Mai. Went there about 3 or 4 years ago. Strange little place. Again, had a bit of a bohemian sort of atmosphere about it. And I think a lot of people go there to sort of, enjoy things. That's fine. So that's Pai, up in the north of Thailand. The popular tourist town, and thank you very much, in the northern province of Mae Hong Son. The Israeli embassy issued a reminder to its nationals about appropriate conduct, where Thai authorities attempted to get locals and visitors communicating to improve relations. I think there were a lot of Israeli expats and tourists, but they were setting up like an Israeli community centre, a Chabat, I think it's called. I'm sure people will inform me otherwise. And people were thinking, whoa, this is sort of going just a little bit too far. Did get a lot of media at the time. And that sort of seemed to settle down. But now it looks like it's raised its head again in Koh Phangan. So the president of the Koh Phangan Hotel and Tourism Association said the behaviour of some Israeli tourists had led to increasing friction on the island, and tourism on Koh Phangan has expanded by more than 200% in the past 2 years, creating strong demand for accommodation and related businesses. But the rapid growth had exceeded the capacity of local authorities to manage it effectively. Well, ditto Phuket. Phuket, after they opened the doors again after COVID, and they started getting a lot of new expats arriving, and it coincided with the start of the Russian Ukraine conflict after the invasion of Russian troops into Ukraine, situation that still continues, and we were getting a lot of Russian people arriving, like a lot. And I'll go through some numbers in a moment that I think might surprise people about what's happened in Phuket. But let's finish this particular article. The point I was trying to make in a very roundabout way was that Phuket's capacity to handle this huge additional number of expats on the island, which now exceeds, they say, 100,000. When I was living there, we used to sort of quote 40 or 50,000. Now they say the number of expats in Phuket is probably exceeding 100,000. I do have some numbers and we'll quote those a little bit later. But traffic in Phuket is, in many areas, trying to get from place to place, a nightmare. Once you get to your hotel, heaven. It's great. You've got plenty of beaches, plenty of wonderful hotels and a variety of accommodation. But just getting around the island has become a bit of a problem. So we get it when you get this huge rise of new expat populations. And here's some Suratani Immigration Division data. 4,030 Israelis currently in the province, 2,548 on Koh Phangan, 1,279 on Samui and 11 on Koh Tao, 987 are long-term residents, including 349 involved in business. Now, just assuming that these people have opened their businesses legitimately, legally, with a Thai nominee, etc., etc. But if they haven't, then that's obviously a problem. And, the immigration department in Suratani is about this big, and the number of expats is about this big. It's going to take them a while to track down any problems. And let's hope maybe this article could be a warning to any foreigners that have opened up their companies illegally. Is there any more to that article as I press the button? Yes, there is a little bit more. Local sources report that some Israelis on Koh Phangan operate villas, restaurants, tour companies, well, that's definitely illegal, and other businesses primarily serving Israeli visitors. Now, we had the same situation again in Phuket, where the company, I think it's called PGAS, P-E-G-A-S. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I got that wrong. But there were PGAS planes, chartered planes, tour buses, the passenger buses just clogging the road from Phuket Airport down to the southern areas. And there were PGAS restaurants. The whole thing got completely out of control, and the government had to really step in and try and clean up this situation where they had Russian-owned businesses, and the situation earlier with Chinese-owned businesses catering for these large Russian and Chinese tour groups, a sort of a closed ecosystem that in some cases locked out the Thais. Now, of course, they still had to get their food from somewhere. They still had to get their petrol from somewhere. The money was still flowing into the Thai economy, but a lot of it was staying with those particular nationalities and illegally. So let's continue. A communal centre, or Chabat, there we go, has also been established for religious and social activities. Now, a lot of people are going to go, red flags, alarm bells. We shouldn't have these sort of religious communal centres being opened up. Thailand does have religious freedom. It's a tenet of its constitution, and Thailand does welcome all nationalities, mostly, and I think almost entirely. and different religions, and is very tolerant with people celebrating their religious activities and with their own communities. But when it starts affecting the sort of fabric of Thai community, then I think that's when they start getting a little bit lemon-lipped and have a crackdown. So that's the situation on Koh Phangan. Let's have a look at the situation in some other areas, and some of the numbers did sort of surprise me. So Phuket, for example, here is a list of foreign workers by nationality, this from April this year. Russia, with nearly 4,000 work permits. The next one is Philippines. Now, Philippines are always in the top 5 expat communities in Thailand. Workers, hospital workers, entertainers, very high concentration of Filipinos, and they're well accepted and very welcome here in Thailand. I know a lot of Filipinos in entertainment and in hospitals and medical care and hospitality, as the new cat and the dog have a bit of a spat. Just going a bit further down the list with work permits, but you can see that 4,000 Russian work permits, basically if you add up, well, almost, but not quite, if you add up everything else, it's about the same number. You've got China, United Kingdom, UK, that's a big number there for a little country. Then France, India, Italy, US, blah, 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 down the road. Australians, 363. I used to be one of those, but I'm now registered in Phang. So I think that is, if not necessarily a red flag, certainly a representation of how far the rise of Russian expats has contributed to Phuket. Now, I'll just go to some general trends around the country, and this was compiled by ChatGPT. It took a few prompts to try and make sure the prompts are the wording is right, and I did have to do a bit of checking into some of the articles to make sure that it's true. But Russian and Chinese are increasingly dominant in Phuket and Pattaya, especially through property ownership. Western retirees remain concentrated in Chiang Mai, Hua Hin, and parts of Isan. Indian expats are most visible in Bangkok. Now, interestingly, I did ask specific questions about one of these memes we read of, there's Indians all over the place in Pattaya. There is quite a lot of Indian tourists, but they're not the highest number of tourists, thank you, in Pattaya, or Chonburi, the province. And so I was saying, are Indian expats the most numerous in Pattaya? Well, the answer is no. Indian expats are most visible in Bangkok with businesses, IT and hospitality, but less so in resort provinces. Migrant labour, and this is important, from Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos and Vietnam, the CLMV countries. The CLMV, they get different visas and they get different work permits. They're much easier to get, and of course they cost a lot less, and that helps control and attract the migrant labour that Thailand needs to sort of, run the place. It still forms the largest numerical group of foreigners in Thailand by far, but it notes that they're not part of the expat narrative. And visa categories, like the LTV, the long-term visa, retirement, smart visa, etc., are shaping the new long-stay demographics, especially digital nomads and wealthier retirees. So just a bit of a framework there. It seems like, for example, Pattaya, Koh Phangan and Suratani provinces in the islands, Koh Samui and Phuket are being especially affected by these concentrations of one nationality over another at the moment. And from there, I've got other statistics I can go to, but I thought I'll go to your comments, and we'll start with all the comments related specifically to today's topic, and then we can go through some of your other questions and comments. The animal's going crazy here. It's a bit of a show if you want to pay and come and watch the Daisy and DJ show. It's on just about every morning at about this time. Let's have a quick break for my coffee. So let's go to your comments and see what you have to say about all this. And it's sort of quite an interesting topic, I think. But again, I think we need to just leave aside any stereotypes. I've been to many countries. I dare say I've probably been to more countries than most of you. I've been very lucky. Looks like I'm going to be spending the remainder of my life mostly based here in Thailand, and I'm very grateful for that. If that's where life has led me, then I've done pretty well. Poor, but generally happy. Jomtien would be a great place to live, I believe, says Shano Traveller. Good morning, Tim. From Albuquerque in New Mexico, that's for Jay. Peter Nesden, these are some new names, so great to have you on board. You're living everyone's dream, Tim, in beautiful Thailand, says Larry the Fink. Peter Nesden said good morning all from Shanghai. Shanghai is, I've got it on my list, I've got a trip to China coming up, and desperately trying to go this next couple of months, but just so many things happening around here, I'm finding it hard to get the time. I'm going to fly to Hong Kong, travel up to the north, got some friends there, then get on the very fast train and travel to Shanghai, Chongqing, Hangzhou, and then back to Hong Kong. So that's my idea. Nick Dapp says, everyone unsub at 49.9. I don't understand. Nick, please explain. Gary Sleeth, about ye, Northern Irish, but currently halfway through 90 days in Thailand in Jomtien until the end of this month. That's so quiet getting those bottles out of the bag. Hi Tim from Saudi Arabia. That's from Chris Stiles. Be interested to hear about the expat population in Saudi Arabia. Chris, if you are still there. Old Expat says, comment, why move to Thailand and then choose to live in an expat enclave? It's a bit like moving to Thailand and then never eating Thai food. That's a really good comment. And I think it's only natural that if you are a bit of a fish out of water, that you will congregate with people who are like-minded because you want information, you want community, you want someone to talk to. So I think it's very natural. And I noticed in Australia, the great sort of migration experiment of the 70s, 80s and 90s, and generally very successful too, I'm proud to say. I was born into a very racist Australia, and I was able to grow up and see firsthand and witness the change in the way Australians approached immigration, and I think we did it very well. There's some excesses from time to time, but there are some communities in Melbourne. I'm thinking of I'm forgetting the place names. The street, that's Victoria Street. Anyway, a lot of Vietnamese moved to that particular part of Melbourne just after the Vietnam War. We took in a lot of refugees, and a lot of Vietnamese signage and food and shopping and just people walking around. And other parts of Melbourne had different enclaves from various parts of the world, and I think that is sort of natural for those enclaves to do it. It's up to the governments, I think, to say, hey, just don't all go there, go here and there. You can talk to each other on the internet now, and you don't all have to be clumped together in one particular suburb, because that is going to change the vibe of that suburb, whether it's intended or not. And the people who were living there before might be going, this sort of isn't what we bought in for. So let's continue here there. Old expat, exactly what's the point? Yeah, look, I think I think your comment is valid, old expat. I think though it's just very natural. Eventually, I think those expats then move out and start mixing with other communities once they sort of get their feet, once they've got a bit of a community, they've got people they can call on the phone. I think it's uncommon. I think it's uncommon or maybe a bit strange if people go to a foreign country, get involved in a community of their peers and people from the same country that they've come from, and then stay with that community for 10 or 20 years. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just perhaps a bit unnatural. Larry the Fink, yeah, there's too many Westerners who go to Thailand, then hang out together eating Western food and avoiding everything Thai. Again, you can do that, but yeah, you might be missing a whole lot of life by doing that. Tony Hatsey, hello Tim, hope you're well. Yes, I am. Thank you, Tony. Thanks for asking. Heathrow, my 70-year-old mum moved to Jomtien lately. Loves it there, especially the Bullet Bar and Cheap Charlie's. I don't know if you're having a go at me here because I don't know these locations. She couldn't afford to enjoy herself in Australia with the cost of living. So is the Bullet Bar a thing, or is that a euphemism? And Cheap Charlie's? I don't know. But Heathrow, thank you very much. I'm always trying to decode comments here these days. Stu Lovell, or Lovell. There's so much to explore in Thailand. No point sitting in an expat bar watching soccer, drinking pints and eating fish and chips. I 100% agree. I do enjoy, there's a place about 15-minute drive from here called Fuzz, Steve will tell me tomorrow, Fashi, I think it's called. It's basically the cover that you put over food, with the plastic one with all the holes in it to keep the flies away. It's that. But they do a really good fish and chips. Not expensive either. Okay, Heathrow, back again. Thanks, Shane. I think she went down to Krabi for a few days. Said it's a nice break from the more vibrant Jomtien. Well, yeah, Krabi and Jomtien are two very, very different places. But great to hear that your mum's doing well. Ultimately, we're just trying to seek happiness and being content. And however you get there, as long as you don't affect other people, it's a good thing. Good luck to your mum. Morning, Tim, from Bangkok. This is Eurovision Chris. KJ, not a fan, but I reckon it's natural to seek out familiarity, especially when you settle in a foreign land. I agree, KJ. There's a Chinatown in most major cities which adds a different flavour to a city. I've got a video ready to go. I've got a lot of videos ready to go, and please don't ask about the electric car video, which now everybody's going to ask about the electric car video, about the rise of Thai restaurants in countries outside of Thailand. It's a very interesting story. And the fact that when you walk down your local main street in Shanghai or Melbourne or St. Petersburg or London, and you see a lot of Thai restaurants, it's not by chance, but we'll get to that video perhaps this week. My wife is a Thai business owner, says Evil Twin, for years, and she has solid opinions on different nationalities. Trust me, there's big differences, Tim. Yeah, look, I get that. And in some cases, the Thais, more than other nationalities, can be a little bit on the racist side from time to time. Sometimes not necessarily in a nasty way, but they're not shy to sort of note various differences. And it's just silly to lump everybody into the same. It's like when people complain about China. Oh, can't trust the Chinese. You mean the Chinese Communist Party or the Chinese 1.4 million Chinese? It's got to be careful. Antoine, good morning all. Chinese tourists have always been there, but may be unrecognised by Western tourists as many Thai have Chinese ancestors. Well, absolutely. And there is a sort of a typecast, a Chinese tourist, the sort of clothes they wear, and often paler in skin than some of the other Asian tourists. But generally, the Chinese have been a net positive for Thailand. Culturally, there's a lot of similarities. A lot of Thailand is Thai-Chinese. Next week, we have the start of a massive Thai-Chinese festival called the Vegetarian Festival. Brace yourself. I'm moving into one of my beach houses down the other end of the street where things aren't quite as noisy because it's 9 days of noise. But that is originally a Chinese festival that sort of was brought here and sort of massaged by the rising Thai Chinese communities here in this town. Very, very concentrated Thai Chinese community. A lot of Chinese came to work on the tin mines along the beach, and well, they stayed and they met a nice Thai wife, and the rest is history. Okay, let's keep on going and really appreciate your comments, everybody. Feeling sad that the rain has killed the crop this year, says Nongwoo. So, which part of the world is that? Please remind us where you've had a lot of rain this year. And Stu asked the question to Nongwoo. So, which crops most due to rain? The crop is like a sweet potato. Yeah, look, sweet potatoes are quite a common and favourite crop of the Thais. I'm not a huge fan of sweet potato. Tried it, but I just sort of like the ordinary potato. I lost my crop too a few months back from a police. I lost my crop too a few months back from a police raid. That's from Larry the Fink. I sort of reading your mind there. Okay, let's move. Yes, everybody's asking, what crop? Tomatoes? Building a luxury house in Thailand. Building a luxury house in Thailand. That's his handle, or her handle. Good morning from Krubby. Hello to you. A Shabbat is not specifically Israeli. It's a Jewish thing. Please don't confuse race with religion. Valid comment. Apologies, Yaklama. You're absolutely right. And I'm not trying to get too specific or into the weeds of that particular situation. But yes, Shabbat is sort of a Jewish thing. And obviously a lot of Israeli tourists that come may gravitate to a community centre like that to get information or to catch up with people from their home country or shared religion. Tim, a question. This is from Stu Lovell. Is Bangkok built on marshland? Yes, most of it is. Increasingly so, the closer you get to the Gulf of Thailand. But the Chao Phraya Delta, which really spreads, it's a huge delta, and a lot of Bangkok was established on marshland. It didn't sort of matter so much when you were building a teak one-storey building, but when you start building huge cities and towers, then it does become more of a problem. And the engineers and the builders know about this, and as we've seen from that sinkhole a couple of weeks ago, they go very, very, very deep with their foundations because of that, they have to go deep to hit hard rock. But yes, it's pretty much built on marshland. And there's been no governments have said, okay, in 20 years we're going to be moving to a new capital, which we're establishing in this location, like the Indonesians are doing with Jakarta. But in Bangkok, there's just a steady movement northeastward of the main city, where they're sort of starting to establish a lot of the new office areas and residential areas. So I think it's sort of going to just evolve away from some of those flooded areas because, well, the seawater's rising, the land is sinking, and it is becoming a profound problem for Bangkokians. The closer you are to the Gulf of Thailand, the worse the problem. Klaus, using Thai nominees is legal? Question mark. Look, it depends, but it has been weaponized illegally by people who want to own land in Thailand by registering a Thai company, a shelf company, with a Thai nominees, with ghost Thai workers, and then using that company, which you only as a foreigner own 49% of, to use that company to buy property in Thailand. It's a workaround. It was very, very popular and promoted by a lot of real estate agents. It is technically illegal if you're using it to basically try and own land when you're not using that company to actually run a company, or those Thai nominees are not working for the company. Eurovision Chris says, I love Koh Phangan since 2022. There's definitely been insular enclaves of certain communities, which kind of goes against the spirit of the island. The Russians integrated better back then. I must go back there and just sort of see the way things are going firsthand. I did a big story which took me to Koh Phangan a few years ago about a cult that was causing a lot of problems there. Sort of yoga stroke sex tourism that grew up behind one particular, what do they call him, a yogi? Sort of the yoga leader. A yogi? Did I get that right? Probably not. But I covered that story and got to interview the yogi. And that's the last time I was in Koh Phangan. I've never been there for the full moon party, which the island used to be sort of famous for. Don't read much about it anymore these days. I mean, I know people go and they enjoy it, but it doesn't seem to grab the headlines as much as it used to. Okay, Tim, have had any asshole trash your rentals? No. All my renters have been very, very good. I've had no... well, look, some are neater than others, but no one's trashed. I'm waiting for the people coming to film a adult film. They may have been already doing so, and I wouldn't know. But nobody's actually said to me, Tim, we'd love to come to your beach house rentals, love the decor, we're filming an adult film, and is that okay? I suppose I'd say yes. Money's money, as long as they don't trash the place. Bayou Tom on the loose again. It's on a river near the mouth of the sea. It's muck. Going back to Stu Lovell's question. Evil Twin, I bet 95% of the Russian work permits are in Phuket. Okay, I can't verify that. I don't think you're right, but... there are certainly a lot of work permits in Phuket given to Russian people. Okay, my comment section has just gone crazy. Comment, went to Wongamat Beach, just west of Pattaya 15 years ago. Was surprised to find it was a very popular Russian enclave. It's a nice beach, and even then many of the Thai hawkers spoke Russian. Yeah, the Thais, they had sort of go with the flow. And from time to time, you get various ethnic and groups and nationalities coming to Thailand, and they'll suddenly see the menus and the signs, all sort of in those different foreign languages. Now, if you go to Phuket, you will see menus in English, which is not Thai, Russian and Chinese, Korean in some locations. Of course, it's a tourist destination. Sweaty Crop from Ohio, USA. This is Victor Rotas. Great to have you with us. It's over for Thailand, says Pichai 5543. Well, all I can say to that is bullshit. These things that we're talking about at the moment are not going to stop other people from coming to Thailand, or very, very few people. I don't think if people see a long-tail boat on a beautiful, pristine beach. They want to go there for the beach and to enjoy themselves, and that beach and the enjoyment is still absolutely there 100%. Corey Jackson says, good morning, Tim, and everyone. Okay. Go for high. That's easier to read. If you need a translator tour guide for China, Hong Kong, let me know. Thank you very much for offering. I'm very lucky. I've got friends in Hong Kong. I've been there probably more than most. I went there back in 1966, a couple of times in the 80s and the 90s. Had a very good friend that moved there. And I've caught up with them various times. Anytime there's a storm going through, I always go, are you okay? And I've travelled there as a tourist 3 or 4 times. I had a business in Zhuhai in China, and Hong Kong is where I opened the bank account. And so I spent quite a lot of time in Hong Kong sort of getting all the company and the banking organised, and then was in Zhuhai from time to time supervising the factory as we were, at the time, churning out boats. Okay, Daryl McGee, Robbo in the Bay. I hope Tim sees and does the same. Oh, I've missed whatever that is. Going back to find Robbo in the Bay. Roger Wilco says, comment, went to Wongamet. I just read that. Sorry, Roger, I didn't mention your name. Oh, we've got the little cat. Is DJ going to come and say hello? Looks like DJ is going to come and say hello. Alf, let's try that again. There's DJ. And yeah, this is the little cat that came to our doors about 6 weeks ago and had been ravaged by dogs, very skinny, shit scared, and had a lot of wounds. And we patched her up and she stayed. Okay, I'm just trying to find all these comments. It did sort of disappear. Rolando Sejogran. Good morning, Tim, all the way from Chaya sub-district of Suratani. How is the weather in your area, Tim? It's beautiful. It's a bright blue sky, sunny day. But I think we could have some of these storms appearing out of nowhere later in the day. We'll just have to see, but it's very nice at the moment. Most Filipinos are lovely people, friendly and family-focused, says Yaklama. Most people generally are very nice. Now, we've had every nationality staying at our beach houses, and I can't say that I've had problems with anybody. Now, when I see the nationalities of the various people coming, I mean, stereotypes are going to jump into your mind, but I usually get surprised, happily surprised, by people all the time in defying these boxes that we put these nationalities in. I love being surprised. Bayou Tom on the loose again. Building more and higher, we're talking about Bangkok, is not helping. It is sinking, and some areas the flooding is solved by laying down more road to the point where some shops that were level with the road are now steps down. Yeah, the way they sort of fix a lot of the flood areas is they sort of raise the roads or put up little barriers in the front of the shops. These are all Band-Aids. Eventually, they're going to have to move. What else did I miss? I don't want to miss anything. I bet, okay, I did that. So we'll just scroll back down. Hello, everyone. This is from Donald, WDLF1. Mr. Tim, for the service you provide, I will retire to Pattaya in 2027, 2028. I love that English is spoken there, so I can ease into retirement. Now, that is going to be a big thing for some people. I've struggled to learn Thai. My Thai is 0.5 out of 10. Like, it's appalling. My restaurant Thai is quite good, but that's where it finishes. And I can pick out a few words in a conversation. I've tried. I'm just stupid. So, but yeah, look, some people pick up languages better than others. And yeah, I suppose we could do a whole program about all that. But yeah, if you don't speak Thai, a place like Pattaya or Hua Hin or central Bangkok or maybe Phuket, you're going to be a bit happier where there's more English spoken or at least more English understood. Donald says, I'm American, marrying a Thai lady this coming Friday. This is the same man. So good luck to you. Well, having a Thai wife is going to make your life a lot easier. If I had a Thai partner, I dare say my life just sort of getting around the community would probably be a little bit easier. But there you go. We can't help who we fall in love with. Farang have this idea of how Thailand should be better, says Ben Hogan. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and I'm not trying to make any particular point. I suppose I'm rather just saying that there are these different enclaves developing and asking you all whether you think these are problems. But ultimately, there's only one group of people that can make up a decision about whether they want to let more tourists and more expats into the country or fewer. Now, I should say, I asked the question, did I save it? No, I didn't. About the number of expats in Thailand now compared to 2 years ago. And it took me a while to dig out some statistics. Thank you very much to ChatGPT, which also helped. And the number of expats in Thailand is roughly the same, even though the mix is a little bit different this year compared to, say, 2 years ago. So it's not that all the expats are just packing up their bags, grabbing their passport and heading to Vietnam, which seems to be the popular meme at the moment. There's plenty of expats leaving the country. There's plenty of expats moving to Thailand as well. So whilst you can jump on the forum and saying, I've had enough, I'm going, I'm off, there's others that are in the background calling up an agent or going down to their embassy in their home country and organising to move to Thailand. So there is no mass exodus or emigration of expats from Thailand to other countries. And now there's always one person, I'm not sure if they're in the conversation, who always picks me up on calling or using the word expat and says you should be using the word immigrant. And the insinuation is that I don't like to call myself an immigrant. If people want to call me an immigrant or an expat, I don't care. I think there is a subtle difference between the two words. I think an immigrant has perhaps more intention to actually move and stay in that country. An expat could be there for a short or a long time, but perhaps the intention is to go back to their home country at some stage. Anyway, that's sort of the way I see it. But if you want to call me an immigrant, I've got no problem with that. If you want to compare me to poor Burmese migrants moving to the country because they're seeking a better life or a change, then okay, I'll accept that as well. So call me an immigrant or an expat, I don't care. Harry Pixels, being shy to note differences is just weak. Thai people have this right. Okay, I'm not quite sure what all that's about. Little DJ is very vocal this morning and very active. She's going to turn up on this table again. Differences of opinion debate are great, but respect is needed. Thank you, Stu Lovell. I agree entirely. Daryl McGee, talking to Pat Thai. I have not been there in a while. I missed that conversation. Here we go. Bullet Bar, this was referred to in Jomtien, is renowned for cheap beer. Okay, there you go. Maybe, who was it? Anyway, their mother enjoys cheap beer. P Chai 5543, Thailand got their own Lubavitch tunnels, no doubt. Oh, God, I think they're going to have to ban this lunatic. Who the hell are they? Ban their tunnels. Hide user from this channel. Bye-bye. See you later. Next to Central Station, Daryl. Okay, again, I'll lose the thread of the conversations. Thanks, everyone. I can't wait to move to Thailand, to live in Thailand, says Donald WDLF. Wildlife 1. Getting married this Friday. Either congratulations or commiserations, whichever way you want to look at it. But good luck to you and your spouse for a happy life here in Thailand. Okay, Yak Lama. Never thought I'd say this, but I'm over the wet season. Looking forward to the Thai version of winter. Yeah, winter in Thailand, strangely, is the best time to come here. It's when we have, in most parts of the country, the most settled weather. November, December, January, February, March, April, then you're sort of into the hot season. And then in May, June, we get the start of the next wet season. But it doesn't really get wet in most parts of Thailand until September, October. Newton and Neutral Bay, Newtown, I think you mean. Thanks, Paul Cocky. Packed with Thai restaurants. Some of them have got great names too. Titanic is one I see often. I've actually got a screensaver of about 10 of these, which I'm using for this story. Some very clever names of Thai restaurants. I've heard Jakarta, Do Tim Snap. I've heard Jakarta. Okay. It's time to buy property in Minbury, says KJ. Minbury, which is northeast of sort of the CBD of Bangkok. CBD, that's not a term that you usually use in Bangkok. It's very spread out. But I think there is that sort of start of Sukhumvit Road, which you would call sort of the CBD or CTVB, Central Tourist District. Anyway. Bayou, here we go. Sorry, scrolling back again. And good news for USA folk. United Airlines flying from LA to Bangkok via Hong Kong. First time since 2015. That's a positive. Yeah, I think we noted that there are plenty of US tourists coming to Thailand at the moment. Maybe a little bit of an exodus. But, of course, they're welcome to come here and settle in. I noted there was another couple of airlines that are also flying to the US through, I think, Taiwan. There was a new flight. I don't think there's any direct flights. Oh, here we go. I might have got that wrong as well. I think there was an intention to start a direct flight from San Francisco. I think there's a direct flight, I'm just riffing here, from Vancouver to Bangkok. Anyway, I'm sure you're going to fill me in on the gaps, but it's a long flight. I think I'd rather break it up with a break somewhere along the way. Okay. 16 hours to Hong Kong, then 2 hours sitting on the tarmac when it refuels. Oh, no. I've got to get out of the plane. So if I'm going to be having a break in Hong Kong, Taiwan, Taipei, or Seoul, or wherever, I'm going to be getting out of the plane. And if they don't let me, then there's going to be words spoken. For you expats with no money means no honey, says the Wu-Tang Life. I've never heard that before. Bayou Tom on the loose again. Only way to get through to that kind of hours easily. Bayou business class lounge in Hong Kong. Yeah, baby. Sweet, says Stu Lovell. I think I've said your name 18 different ways today, Stu. Lovell. Maybe they're both okay. Maybe you don't mind, and that's good too. Yeah, I've never flown. The only time I flew business once. I was upgraded on a flight. I was flying from Melbourne to London, and it went via Frankfurt, and I was upgraded, I don't know why, to business class from Frankfurt to London. Why it couldn't have been the first leg of the trip. I was flying on an Airbus A380, huge plane, and we were in premium economy, which was down the very back of the plane on the bottom level, which I thought, it's where the economy people should be. But no, that's where they had the premium economy seats. But we were bumped up to business class, which was nice. It's the only time I've flown business. The only time I sort of semi-flew business was when I flew with Scoot. And from Singapore to Melbourne, we had the, what do they call it, Star class or Scoot class or something. But you're sitting in sort of business class seats at the front of the plane. But old-style business class is like sitting in a lounge chair. I have to say that the seats were not comfortable at all. Anyway. Tim Newton is one of those worse FHANG, says Ben Hogan, buying up properties, changing more for ROI, destroying the authentic Thai experience. Ben, come and have a look at what I've done, and I'll show you what was there before, and very unlikely to be improved. I basically have saved these completely run down properties that had been destroyed, had just been let go over, countless decades. And I think if you ask all the Thais along here whether they think my tiny little beach house enterprise has been a positive or a negative for the area, they will they'll give me a tick. But I'm very happy to if you ever are in the area, Ben, I'll shout you a coffee. Be very happy to sit down and explain what's going on, and you can air your grievances. I'm all ears. It's a bit silly to do it here in a forum like this because we can't have a proper, mature discussion about it. You can sit there and throw your shit from afar, but I don't think I'm very conscious of making sure that I'm not making a huge sweeping change to the area. Steve and I, both of us, we are of the mindset that we want to be net contributors to the community, and we get involved in all the various community activities. We actively, both of us, in different ways, involve ourselves with the local ties. So I think that's a not particularly accurate comment, Ben, but if you are in the area, I'll even put you up for a couple of nights in one of those dreadful beach houses, all right? So if you are in the area, you get a couple of free nights and you get a coffee and a chat with me. If you'd like to take me up on that, you can send me an email on timnewtontoday@gmail.com. Bayou Tom on the loose again. I'm not paying $5,000 for comfort. Okay, talking about the cost of business flights, I suppose. Tim, you need reading glasses, says Neil McLean. Well, look, I get away with it generally. I had my cataracts done 5 or 6 years ago. I had them replaced with multifocal lenses. So, Dina and DJ, just behave yourselves. Dina. Two ladies, two princesses, basically. So, the lenses give me close, middle, and far eyesight. And I mean, it's all a bit of a compromise, but generally, the computer is, I don't know, about 70 or 80 centimetres away from me at the moment, and I can read it perfectly well, but yeah, okay, I'm straining from time to time. That might be because of the great big light that's sitting above, beaming a lot of light into my eyes, so I'm sort of fighting the light and the glare. But I can do it without reading glasses. I can read my phone perfectly well, and that's here. Yep, perfectly well. So it was a good investment. Multifocal lenses. If you just get the normal cataract operation and get your prescription basically put into your eyes, then you're going to need reading glasses in dim light. That is a compromise, but the multifocal lenses are a lot more expensive, but they do give you pretty much the vision you'd have as a 6-year-old. But thank you very much, Neil. Practice. If you grow up bilingual, learning a Thai language, a third language, is easier. You're absolutely right. I tried to study French for 7 years, and I did about as well in France when I got to Paris in the 90s, having done French for 7 years, as I do with Thai, living in Thailand. The French I learned was not the French they speak in France, but it's an interesting. I didn't learn foreign languages when I was young. I was 13, 14 when I started learning a foreign language, and that was a Latin language, French. I think to learn Thai, you need to learn something that's not a Latin language early in life, so it can sort of scramble your neurons and put them back together in a way that you can understand some of these Asian languages. Asia is a very, very big area, and there are 13 or 14 different countries, most of them with totally different languages. So there's no Asian language. The most common one spoken would be Mandarin, but otherwise... and it always amazes me that Thailand, with only, 67, 68 million people officially, that they have such a thriving TV and movie industry. There's literally a Thai movie made every single week. Okay, they're not Schindler's List or Raiders of the Lost Ark or, they're not epics, but they're perfectly good and often very funny films. And their TV industry, they export to other countries with subtitles. And they're very popular at the moment. So it's amazing that Thai is not spoken as an official language anywhere else in the world except Thailand. But they do have this huge film and TV export industry. Amazing. Get back to me, Ben. I'm waiting to hear from you. timnewtontoday@gmail.com. I'd love to have a longer chat with you because I don't want people to have that sort of opinion of me because I think it's incorrect, although you're well entitled to make that comment. We're sort of getting down to the business end. Unless I've missed something, and I'll just see if, because sometimes are we getting more messages? No, sometimes it just, the stream stops. So I'm going to turn that off there. I'm going to recycle this. I hope I stay on air, everybody. See what happens. And we're going to pop out the messages again. Do we have the messages there? Here we go. And Eurovision Chris says, I'm lucky enough to speak 3 languages, 1 mother tongue and 2 learned languages, and living in the countries. I feel guilty when I struggle here in Southeast Asia with the languages. Yeah, look, some people are just going to pick up languages better than others. It's just the way things are. And indeed, my messages did go a bit haywire. And it's YouTube. It's not perfect. Pat Thai says, I can't understand Southern Thai dialect. Yeah, within Thailand, they all speak Thai, but there are sort of different versions. The closer you get to the Lao border, the more Lao is spoken and the more hybridized language becomes. The same happens on the Burmese side of the border. And then when you get down south, you've got a bit of Malaysian infusing the dialects down in southern Thailand. And so you'll have this, what they call sort of Bangkok Thai, and then these southern dialects and northeastern Isan dialects. But usually most Thai people can understand other Thai people, but in some cases it gets a little bit harder. It's like when I went down to the south of the United States and I was in Louisiana and Mississippi for about 6 weeks, and some of the English spoken there needed subtitles for me. And I imagine they were listening to my Australian accent and thinking exactly the same. Hong Kong speaks Cantonese, but on the mainland, mostly Mandarin. That's right, Pad Thai, thank you very much. The Underworld Reporter, Turkish TV industry is big too. They export it worldwide, big even in Latin American countries. Can't say I've seen a Turkish TV show specifically. But I'll keep an eye out for it. Interestingly, Netflix and, well, YouTube, of course, you get to see all sorts of different, foreign language posts and movies and documentaries. And, you know, we're lucky that we have the ability to generate a lot of this, in my case, in English. So the sort of the world is slowly becoming smaller. Not sure if that's a good thing, but it is. I enjoy learning foreign languages, says Dam1, on numbers, old hobby. Okay. Stu Lovell, numbers are the language of the world. The Underworld Reporter says, do you think expats on DTV visas will leave in droves after the new tax rules? Well, look, the whole DTV situation is a bit like all visas. Immigration officers around the country, to the pain of a lot of foreigners who use the immigration services, do have a certain amount of discretion. When you ask them a question, they can give you an answer that may be different from an officer at their own immigration officer at a different time of the day, on a different day, or at a different immigration office around the country. And once they sort of make a decision, then it's usually very hard to change their mind on that. The immigration officers can sort of dig their heels in from time to time. I think the DTV, which is administered by the Foreign Affairs Department, I believe in Thailand, it's only now that people are starting to come in for their second 180 days. It lasts over 5 years and gives you up to 180 days per time you re-enter the country. I think if you're using the DTV to basically live in Thailand, then you're using it for the wrong purpose. Although you're perfectly entitled to do so, but you're at the behest of the immigration officer when they're stamping you back into the country, and you might have to prove documentation why you're coming back to Thailand. What course are you studying? What medical procedure are you going to have? Where are the details on your company from overseas that says that you're working in Thailand? Now, other people are going to say, well, I came back in my second and my third time and there was no problems at all. But we're now into at least the first and in some cases second iteration of these 180-day stays in Thailand. And I think we're starting to see a few holes in the DTV visa and the way it's administered, which may in some cases be slightly different from the way it was marketed. Now, I think at the moment there's some 15 to 20,000 people on DTVs, Destination Thailand visas, in Thailand. And some people are having problems, particularly when it comes to opening a bank account. The banks are extremely reluctant to let you open a bank account in Thailand if you have a DTV. The only way that you can open a bank account in Thailand as a foreigner is if you have a long-term visa, one of these annual renewable non-immigrant visas, marriage visa, retirement visa, education visa, B visa in my case. So over to you on that one. I think some people are having problems with it, some people aren't. If you need a bank account in Thailand and you are on a DTV, you're probably going to have to get an agent involved, but again, be very, very careful and make sure they're not doing anything that is illegal. But if they are able to open doors or grease some wheels and you get a bank account legally, then go for it. But I think it's increasingly difficult for somebody on a DTV to get a bank account in Thailand. Regarding the staying in Thailand, well, if you are on a DTV, you don't have well, actually you do. The taxation rules relate to being a tax resident, and that involves being in Thailand more than 180 days in a calendar year. So on a DTV, you're here for 180 days maximum, then you have to leave the country, and then you can come back. But if you come back, well, you're already more than 180 days in a year. So you're going to have to work that out. Again, I'm not going to give tax advice. I'm not going to make any comments on this whole taxation situation, but I know it's causing a lot of headaches for a lot of people. It's causing a lot of confusion. And the only reason I did the story yesterday, and you can check that out, a report from the Bangkok Post, was that it seemed to hammer home the fact that they are going to continue, as far as that story is concerned, taxing incoming monies. There was talk earlier in the year of reversing that decision, so there wouldn't be any taxation of incoming monies for foreigners in Thailand, but we haven't seen anything confirmed in that regard. And the article yesterday, and the only reason I did the story, is that they were hammering home the original concept from January 2024 about the taxing of some incoming monies into Thailand for both Thais and foreigners. Conscription to Russian army. I know 3 other Russians have been contacted weird times ahead. The reason a lot of these Russian people, most of the Russian people I've spoken to, the vast majority have been young families. And if I had a young family and the means to get out of Russia with some cash in hand, had the opportunity to go and live in Thailand with the sunshine, a new start, I'd be bringing my family here as well. I think a lot of people saying, oh, they're all, conscripts just fleeing their country. Again, if I had my country that was going to be drafting me into being a soldier on the front line, I'd be getting out of that country too. I don't want to die. David Connolly says, I think Bangkok... David Connolly, I used to go to school with a David Connolly. I think Bangkok Bank lets you open a bank account on a tourist visa. No. But they make you pay 8,000 baht for their useless health insurance. David, don't think that's good advice. I'm pretty sure Bangkok Bank won't let you open a bank account now with a tourist visa. I think in the past you could, but no, I'd be very, very doubtful. You're suggesting there might be a bit of a bribe, so they're getting a commission on health insurance. Good luck, but I'd be very careful with that. Many DTV holders, that's the Destination Thailand visa, this is from Yaklama, holder with a bank account issues as the rules of the game have changed. This is the problem, that you get a visa under one set of conditions and then those conditions change. Do they have a sunset clause on that visa? Do you get grandfathered into the system for that 5-year term of your visa, or are you out on your ear? I don't know. I think we've got a lot more story to be read on the whole DTV and the way it's going to sort of eventually wind out in Thailand. Plenty of people here in Thailand that are getting DTVs. If you've had a non-immigrant visa or you already have a bank account here in Thailand and then change to a DTV, and the DTV suits the way that you're travelling or living in Thailand, then, go for it. Paolo Gator, you're right, Tim. Your life is much more valuable than a stupid politician power plan. David Connolly's come back. Happened to me 3 years ago on Koh Phangan, but I refused the bribe, waited for LTR visa. Yeah, David, I think the situation has changed, but thank you for that clarification. The Drifter says many agents offer short-term loans for the 800,000 Thai baht for retirement visas. I'm wondering if this may cause taxation and banking issues. Well, it's not so much an 800,000 baht loan, but the agent will put 800,000 in your bank, and then they'll go down to the bank and they'll get a statement, and then they'll take the money out of your bank account. That's sort of the way it's worked. It's been a workaround for those retirees that don't have access or don't have 800,000 baht in their bank account. Strictly, of course, it is illegal. It's been a common workaround for a lot of people, but I think the Immigration Department are trying to root those people out of the system because strictly they're not acting legally to obtain that visa. Tim has been Dam1 says, Tim, Ben has accepted your offer for that free stay in February. He's also available for the lead role in the movie you discussed earlier. Okay. Thank you, Dam1. I suspect I won't hear from Ben, but if he turns up one day, then the offer stands. 2 free days in the beach house. Now, it's going to encourage people to insult me, I know, and that might have been a silly move. This applies only to Ben. 2 nights in the beach house of your choice and a free coffee. But you're going to have to sit and listen to me explain myself. That may not be worthwhile. Yaklama, hopefully the new government will bring greater consistency to their visitor and immigration policies, less flip-flopping. Thank you for that, dose of optimism. The new government are going to be around for another 3.5 months, not 4 months anymore. Then there's going to be an election called, so we will have sometime in 2026 a new government in Thailand. How that government is going to be made up, I sort of think I know how it's all going to come together, but silly to make predictions at this stage. But currently we have Anaton as the Prime Minister. He set out a lot of plans, a lot of things they want to achieve in their 4 months in government, and what you suggested is not one of them. CPP, what happened? You were speaking about Phuket and you were cut, and then you were discussing taxation. I think that's something to do with your feed, CPP. So I apologise for that. Is the election in March, all things panning out the way they should, we should have an election in March, April, May next year. It just depends on many, many things. March is my bet, but we'll just have to see the way it all rolls out. And with that, I'd like to thank you all very much. Which banned books do you enjoy reading? Oh, it goes into my t-shirt. I read banned books. I have read a few, none of which come to mind at the moment. But as soon as a book is banned, I'll be the first to get a copy of that and have a read. I'm not a big book reader these days, but I have read plenty of banned books in the past. You can go to the United States and there's some constituencies that love pulling books out of their libraries. The country of freedom of speech. I find that disgusting, that you can be pulling books out of libraries. And that's the end of civilization as far as I'm concerned. So whatever books they're trying to remove, I'll be standing at the back door and taking them home and reading them. Expat, someone who is in Thailand but works and is paid from a company outside Thailand. That's a definition from Fatboy Jim. Read Steve's, Tim. Pat Ty says, see you tomorrow on Grumpy Old Men. I enjoyed Pink Floyd's banned book. Tim, says Dame One. Ben's back. Have coffee money set aside. See you in February. Ben, look forward to it. Email me. So I need to put a booking aside so we can see you. And so you can bring your brickbats and beat me over the head in person. I look forward to it. Okay, Ben Hogan, got your golf clubs? Yes, there is a golf club here if you're interested. And a very popular golf club. A lot of Phuketians come up and they play here several times a week. I think it might be a bit cheaper than the golf clubs in Phuket. And I dare say we're right on the ocean here, so you get a bit of view from some of those holes. Thanks for dropping in today. Hopefully it's been interesting. Very interested to hear your comments as usual. And I do look forward to doing the Grumpy Old Men with Steve tomorrow and hearing more about his upcoming trip to the United States. Take care, and may all your traffic lights be green. See you next time.